Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. I want to make, as I usually, I guess I do say at the beginning of just about every video, I want to make this a short video. I've been doing some research and I plan to make this a longer video, but it's getting late. It's close to 8, it's around 8 o'clock. So what I wanted to talk about is Kabbalah. I'm Jewish, and in case you didn't know, Kabbalah is very tied in. It's integral to Jewish tradition. Not many people know that, and I want to spread the word through this channel and forthcoming videos. I want to explain Kabbalah better. Why do I want to explain Kabbalah? Well, the focus of my channel is about introspection. That's the name of my channel, Introspection with Jeff. That may change as Samantha takes hold and may appear in more videos. I like to dress up as Samantha, so I may change the channel, but the focus of it is still introspection. That means self-assessment, looking inward, understanding yourself better, understanding the world better. And that's what Kabbalah assists with. It's not some new trend, oh, I really don't like that conception of Kabbalah as some new trendy thing in Hollywood. It's from what I gather and suspect, it goes back to the beginnings of the writing of the Torah. Excuse me. Both the Orthodox Judaism, in other words, Orthodox meaning the traditional Jews who believe in the ancient traditions, view Kabbalah as going all the way back to the beginning, practically to the beginning of time, and its focus is on it goes way back. As you can imagine, as you can guess, modern the more liberal Jews regard stories and traditions of Judaism as as created more recently, but I suspect that actually the Torah, and I want to do a video on this, I suspect that the Torah was written around 271 BCE. I also suspect that Plato's beliefs and Plato's thinking system was a heavy influence on the creation of Torah and basically modern Judaism. Well, actually, I shouldn't say modern Judaism. I should say ancient Judaism. I think that I suspect that it was there influencing the writing of the Torah, and that it was influential in creating Kabbalah to begin with. Can you imagine that? The earliest Kabbalistic text, the Sefer Yetzirah, has been dated due to its grammatical structure about 2,000 years ago. I'll say roughly 2,000 years ago. Somebody may say 200 CE, in the Common Era, 200 AD or whatever, but roughly like 2,000 years ago. That's amazing. So anyway, so what is Kabbalah? A central feature of Kabbalah is the tree of life. Kabbalah, the word, it's a feminine form of kaval, which means to receive, and it's basically received tradition, received knowledge. Now, there are several different texts which are characterized as Kabbalistic. Sefer Yetzirah, the famous Zohar, which is basically an encyclopedia set, large work of writing, and the Sefer Bahir are the ones that I go to, and they're foremost on my mind. Kabbalah explains how the universe is spiritually. It's an explanation of the spiritual aspect of Judaism, which has always been there. But unfortunately, as the 20th century took hold, and now we're in the 21st century, Jews are separated from the spirituality of their traditions, and a lot of them have, well, I don't want to say a lot of them, but unfortunately, many Jews have moved away from the traditions and understanding the importance of rituals and so forth. They may see that as archaic and irrelevant to today. However, ironically, there's a strong desire to connect with something ancient and something from our childhood, sort of like going back to the Garden of Eden in the sense that we want to return to the origins of everything. And that's what Kabbalah essentially is. Um, it's not written by one author, it's several different texts written in certain styles of writing that are coded and use a lot of analogy. Um, and I'll get into that in future videos. I do want to explain Kabbalah. Again, I want to explain it because it not only explains the spirituality in a spiritual level, spiritual perspective of how the universe works and how God operates, essentially, how the two are intertwined. I like that Judaism sees God's participation in our world as very connected, and with each of us very connected, not in a like a kindergarten style level, like if we do this, if we obey you, you will give us stuff. That's very, very childish. I'm very proud to be part of a religion that sees God and God's creation as almost like a partnership and a working relationship. Um, so I wanted to talk about the three heads of the crown. Now, this is part of the tree of life. If you know nothing else about Kabbalah, please look up the figure, the diagram of the tree of life. Um, it has uh, it has Keter at the top, and then a triangle of three vessels known as the intellectual attributes, and then below that there are the six attributes, and then below that um, there's one final attribute at the bottom. I want to get into that further, but what really fascinated me right now is, I mean, today and thinking this video up, um, is right up there that top crown attribute, Keter. Within that crown, there are three heads. There's the divine will, there's the joy, divine joy and delight, and then there's an overlap. And I'm fascinated by its description of how I believe the divine joy is wider. It surrounds. I believe it surrounds. It's the ultimate cause of the divine will. The divine will then seeks to create, for example, create the world. Why does it seek to create the world? It's motivated principally by divine pleasure, and there are terms for this. Ta'anug is associated with the crown. That ta'anug translates as pleasure, I believe, and it's the divine omnipresence. And the Ancient of Days, I believe, relates to faith, emunah in Hebrew, and it relates to the meaning of the word keter, meaning to wait. There are three meanings of keter. It's to wait, crown, as in like tiara, and surround. And each of those three meanings of keter relates to one of the heads within keter. So you have the Ancient of Days, which is Atik Yomin, literally in Hebrew, um, and that's related to faith, um, and it's related to the meaning of Keter, meaning to wait, um, and it's known as the unknowable head. And there's another head that's another head within Keter, long face or elongated face. It's related to the verb to surround, that meaning of Keter, and it's associated, I believe, in here, unless I do further research. Trying to piece this together so I can give you a better explanation, but it relates to divine will or ratzon in Hebrew, and it's related to the aspect of God being the infinitely patient one, infinitely waiting and being patient. Um, Long face in Hebrew is arich on pin. I think it's actually literally long nose. Um, and then there are, it's fascinating, the intellect, the upper part of the diagram refers to the intellectual aspect of the divine, and then the lower part, the emotional aspects of the divine, and um, they relate in terms of joy and pleasure, motivating the divine will to go forward and carry things out. Now, I'll go a little bit further. In Kabbalah, there are several worlds emanated out. There's essentially a creation story. That there's the Ein Sof. Now, the Ein Sof is a term for deity. Literally, Ein means nothing, there is no, and Sof means boundary or limitation. So, literally, Ein Sof means there is no boundary or there is no limitation. But in order to create something for whatever reason, perhaps I like the idea that it wanted to understand itself better. Maybe one motivation, it contracted itself so as to make room for its creation. And that would be the succeeding worlds. This perhaps a better, rather than world, I would think of it more like plane of existence. So it contracted itself in a term meaning tsim tsum. Say that 5 times fast. And the first world, the first plane of existence, not even really emanated out, but the first concept is Adam Kadman. Kadem refers to the east. It also refers to ancient, or of old. And that's where the blueprint for the forthcoming formations of the Sephirot in these different planes of existence and in our world exist. Now, what I'm talking about with the Sephirot, that's that diagram of the tree of life. So basically, the tree of life contains vessels. Those are the Sephirot. That's what the Sephirot refers to. The vessels there are 10 of them. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, strength or vigor, and compassion, and stuff like that. Those describe the attributes within ourselves, could describe attributes within our soul, how we should be functioning if the connections within all the vessels within our own tree of life are clear and functioning well, like a bloodstream. If they're flowing well, then we have our harmonic life. We're operating in a healthy spiritual manner. If they're off balance, if one is more than the other, then it's we're spiritually we're off balance. Something isn't right. We're perhaps sick in some sense. I don't mean sick like we're evil or something, but I mean we're unhealthy spiritually. So the blueprint for that exists within Adam Kadmon, and then the first emanation as the Ein Sof contracted to make room for its creation, the first plane of existence emanated out. In fact, the word for it, that plane, is called emanation. In Hebrew, it's atzilut, and then that's that. In that atzilut, there's still no self-consciousness. Then after that, I don't remember offhand. I didn't write it down here. There's another emanation, and then after that emanation is the Yetzirah, which means formation, and then after that is Asiyah. There are four worlds. There are four planes of existence emanated outward after Adam Kadma. And Asiyah is the plane, it literally means doings, and that would be our plane of existence. So, as you can see, or as you might understand, as you get further and further toward our plane of existence, our emanation called Asiyah, it becomes more what we would call more physical and more tangible. And our connection to the Ein Sof is concealed more and more. It's concealed less and less as you move up through the planes of existence, depending on which plane, depending on the plane of existence that you are, depending on its vicinity in the levels of emanation between Adam Kadma and Asiyah, that would indicate how close you are to the Ein Sof and how far away you are from Asiyah. Would indicate how less concealed the Ein Sof is, or appears. In other words, the Ein Sof always has a connection with each of these planes, but but the degree to which they're concealed depends on their vicinity within this, essentially list. Atzilut, and the next one, I forget what that one is, and then Yetzirah, and then Asiyah. Hopefully that makes sense. So it's about almost 18 minutes now for the video. I covered quite a bit here, and I just wanted to start you off and talk about that, perhaps get you excited about explaining Kabbalah further, and especially that idea about the three heads, and that the primary motivation is pleasure and joy. And I think we recognize that in our daily lives. It's why I wanted to do, one of the reasons I wanted to do this, and I saw it as a good excuse to explain Kabbalah. Not many people are exposed to actual Kabbalah. There's one entertainer I hope that watches this video that I hope goes back to, actually perhaps goes back to study Kabbalah. Anyway, I'll talk about this further in future videos. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, day, evening, wherever you are. Bye.